Well, it's been a busy week, and mostly it's been back planting, but I've also been clearing the polytunnel, and I love clearing the polytunnel. Took all the cucumbers and tomatoes out, got a reasonably good sort of final harvest off those, which you'll see actually probably at the end of this video. And yeah, gave everything a good clean and tidy up, and I made a video specifically about how I kind of clean and prepare the polytunnel for planting, so I won't go into too many details here, but it's just really nice to get all of that done. And then I managed to get the whole polytunnel planted, and it's all planted for the first time actually with salad ingredients. So not all lettuces, but all different types of salad ingredients. Lots of winter miners lettuce, lots of Asian greens, obviously lots of lettuce, but salad rocket and things like that as well. So I'm really excited for that. This is the first time I've actually dedicated the whole of the polytunnel to winter salads, and you know, this will all start getting progressively cleared come sort of late February time, but between now and late February the focus of the polytunnel is salads. I have got other things which are out here which will come in containers in a week or so's time, but for now it's all done. So I also cleared the collet bed that got clubroot, and basically we got almost no harvest off that bed, and I just decided to cut my losses. So I raked back the strulch that had been on that bed and gave it a bit of a fertilise, put some lime down, and then I've planted field beans in the centre of the bed, interplanted with red onions, and I've planted red onions and tough ball white onions around the outside. The red onions are red winter. I do generally advise to plant the red onion sets as late as possible, so late October, early November, and that reduces the risk of them going to seed. But because we're so short of onions this year, you know, we've only got something like 300 onions or something, I've kind of sown some early, knowing that they will probably go to seed, but that doesn't really matter because we'll be eating them fresh. But I still hold some back for planting in October, November, so they're going to be the ones we're going to be eating between July and August sort of time. So what else have I done? I've planted Joy Choy and Vibrant Green, two Asian greens, in one of the old pepper beds, and taken all the New Zealand spinach out and did the final harvest of that, and then in those beds that's where we've got some more tough ball onions, and we will have in early November red winter onion sets. And we've also harvested and taken out all of the old squash plants, the winter squash plants, and I've been really pleased with the harvest from those. I think the winter buffyball has got to be the star of the show. I think there was only one plant and we got 44 fruits off that. The Trumbacino was pretty good. I think we got about 12 fruits off that. Some of them really substantial size, you know, so as nearly as big as me. And the sweet dumpling was probably the prettiest of those, and we got 4 sweet dumpling off one plant as well. So I was really pleased with that climbing frame. So pleased that I put in the main support posts for another similar climbing frame for winter squashes. And if you kind of orientate yourself, the way I'm looking in this video is I'm looking from south, so it's going to be a real little sun trap for those for this new bed that I'm putting in. And because it's facing south, and obviously the back is north, it's not really shading anything. So all of the beds, one's going to be strawberries, and I'm not sure what the other one's going to be come summertime next year, but whatever it'll be a sun-loving plant. And then at the back, in the bit that's a little bit shaded, that's where I'm going to plant lettuces in summer, so sort of a July sowing of lettuce. And then finally I have cleared my autumn lettuce bed, and the next succession of lettuce is looking really nice. So I'm really pleased that I managed to get that one finished, because what I've planted in there, and it's an unusual one, never tried it before, are field beans in a cold frame. Now obviously field beans grow really successfully outside, But what we find is that come winter time, growth midwinter, the growth really slows. But I noticed the broad beans in the polytunnel continued to grow even in winter, in midwinter. So I'm going to try some field beans in a cold frame just to see if I can keep the harvest going all the way through winter. And just make a nice comparison, because it's nice to understand the nature of plants. With something like field beans, is heat more important than light? Because obviously there's not very much light around in midwinter. So if there's not enough light, heat doesn't really do any good. So what you're looking for is a crop that benefits from heat even in low light levels. And something like lettuce really does, because there's a huge amount of leaf area to it. Something like field beans might not, because I'm picking them really small, just the tender tips. And so there might not be enough leaf area to get enough light to benefit from the heat. But we'll just have to see. It'll be an interesting experiment. I like doing experiments. And I just happen to have that cold frame free, and it's time to plant the beans. And I got 2 different batches of beans actually. I got one from King's, which looks just like an ordinary field bean. And I got one from Premier Seeds, which looks nothing like a field bean. But we'll see. So I planted half and half of the 4 beds of field beans that I put in so far to see which one I like the most. And I think I'm pretty much done. So let's take a look at the harvest. So it's another fantastic harvest. Obviously a lot of stuff now is in store, so it's not on the table. But I've put a few samples out so you can see the sorts of things we've got. And I will do a video showing what we've got in store in a week or so. So, right, let's start. The last of the cucumbers, finally. God, we are fed up with cucumbers, I can tell you that. And we've picked, I think, 1,650 cucumbers this year. That is a lot of cucumbers, but none of them have gone to waste. Oh, well, truth be told, maybe 10 of them have gone to waste. I've got some lovely kales there from my late plantings, and so much better than the early plantings. But the early plantings were good in summer. So we've got chard, these gorgeous Asian greens, celery of course, more kales, last of the New Zealand spinach, pulled that, planted onions, some more New Zealand spinach down there. This isn't the last of the peppers. We've still got 1 pepper bed in the ground, which is where actually those yellow ones came from. And these are just ripening up in the shed outside. So we've got loads and loads of green peppers, just gradually ripening them. And some of them will just be used green. We've got some Mizuna, just a little sample of the beetroot. Starting to get a decent number now of turnips. Really lovely, these. Snowballs, and the little salad carrots. They're just for me. I'm the only one who has carrots in their salad. True spinach starting to pick up now. We'll have a plentiful supply of true spinach soon, so that's why we've taken all this New Zealand spinach out. We don't need it. And obviously garlic from the store, and carrots. We have a lot of carrots. I just wanted to show you this one. Look at that carrot. Nothing special, just grown direct in the ground. Nothing fancy. And it's so long that I broke the end off. That is one hell of a carrot. But, even these others are pretty good. Broke the end off that one as well. But they're pretty good carrots, quite happy with them, very clean. Last of the early parsnips. So these are the ones I actually had to harvest about a month ago. So I could plant spinach, and I just stored them in damp compost, so they're not ideal, but they're okay. And obviously we've got loads of parsnips in the ground, and they'll last us until February time. And last of the sweet corn, just those 3 cobs there. A few little sample of herbs. Still on the use now, onions. The onions were a bit of a disaster with them, so many of them going to seed. But to be honest, we've we've been using them fine for the last couple of months and not had a problem with them. We haven't lost any of them. Apples, a nice selection for the week. We've got a lot of apples still on the trees, but we've pulled most of the pears now. I think we've still got maybe the same again on the trees to be picked over the week, but by next week all the pears will have gone. But the red cabbages won't. This is one of the bigger red cabbages. We've got a good selection there. It'll keep us going until the end of the year, hopefully. Shallots, really lovely. Then just a little sample of the winter squashes. So that's the Crown Prince. That's the best keeper of the bunch. That'll last until we have early courgettes next year. And that's our kind of objective for the sort of timing of how many we eat. Is, we try and eat them at a pace that will allow us to have a continuous supply of squash of some description. These are the little winter buffy balls. I got 44 of those off one plant. So they're really prolific, but they're really small. So there's like 5 of those probably in maybe 6 of those in one of those. But even so, they're still even more prolific than Crown Prince. And then this is the prettiest, I think, this gorgeous sweet dumpling. And I think we got just 4 of those off one plant, but it was a slow starter. I'm definitely going to grow more of that next year. 1 tub of potatoes, those are the Cara, and so we pick a tub a week until we have new potatoes next year. And then we've still got a few tomatoes. These are ripening up. These are obviously ripe. We've got 1 more pick of the outdoor plants. The indoor plants have all gone, and we're just starting to ripen, the indoor ones up. So there's a few more here. Although we probably end up making some chutney with those, to be honest. And then these are the salads. So the salads at the base and the salad rocket at the top, which I haven't put into the salad mixes yet. Lots of gorgeous tatsoi now. We've had tatsoi for a while, but it's all being sort of grown in the polytunnel in summer, and it was a bit small, and polytunnel was too hot for it, and it was also not enough light. But salad's looking really good, and salad harvest now really picking up because it's the season, or one of the seasons for salads, as it is for salad onions. So I'll be pleased to be finished with these, because these are the salad onions that grew mainly over summer, and the quality of summer grown salad onions is, well, very poor by comparison with ones grown in autumn, winter and spring. Salad onions are so much better in the cold, and that is kind of true of so many things on this table, that are just going to get better and better as the weather cools. So these, as they cure, they just get better. Potatoes stay the same, but of course the parsnips get better, the carrots get better, the turnips get better, the spinach gets better, the brassicas get better, the chard gets better, the Asian greens get better. So much, and the salads get better. So much stuff is just going to get better and better over autumn and winter. And of course then we've got the true winter veggies still to come. So I think we'll call it a day. It's a pretty good harvest. I hope you liked this quick video. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.